Hi there. Thanks for joining me today as I make these beautiful roasted Cornish hens. This is one of those meals you make when you want something a little bit special for a really elegant meal, maybe like Christmas or an anniversary or New Year's or something like that, when you really want your meal to stand out. The Cornish hens are so darn cute and tasty, and they make a really elegant presentation. What I do differently is to brine my Cornish hens first for several hours, and then I like to make a citrus and savory stuffing for them to flavor them from the inside out. I'll go into that in a little bit later. This is a meal you need to plan for ahead of time in terms of your time and your ingredients, but one that will definitely stand out in the memory of your dinner guests as being really special. There are quite a few steps to take in this menu, but absolutely none of them are technically difficult. Here are the ingredients you're going to need for the brine. We're going to put those together first and get that going. Here are the ingredients we'll need for the hens. We're going to have a seasoning rub for the outside. We're going to have a stuffing that's for the cavity. And then we're going to have the ingredients we need for the hen itself. Let's get started on preparing the brine. Bring the brine ingredients to a boil. It should taste fairly salty, not like something you would necessarily want to drink, but also a little bit sweet. This includes 10 to 12 cups of water, a half a cup of salt, a quarter cup of honey, 1 tablespoon of black peppercorns, 2 large bay leaves, and 2 large lemons. Now, after this comes to a boil, we're going to let it cool to room temperature. If you're a little impatient like I am, I poured my brine into a big, cold metal bowl that I arranged in an ice bath to cool it off really fast. To that, I'm going to add 1 cup of apple juice, a cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of maple syrup, and then we have a beautiful finished brine. Now it's time to prep our hens. First, rinse your hens thoroughly, both inside and out. They're kind of slimy on the inside, so I give them a really good rinse. Then we're going to place the hens in the brine and cover them and refrigerate them for at least 6 hours. Then remove the birds from the brine, rinse with cold water, and pat them dry with paper towels. Rub your hens with olive oil all over, and then season each of them with the salt mix. To stuff the bird, we're going to loosely stuff the cavities of each hen with our cavity stuffing. This includes fresh sage leaves, 2 stalks of celery, an apple, and a tangerine. Place your hens that you've stuffed in a large baking sheet or roasting pan, and make sure you give them plenty of space between them. You may need to use 2 pans if you're using more than 2 hens. Now, to season up the hens, I'm going to make a compound butter with cool but softened butter and fresh thyme leaves. Gently separate the skin from the meat of the hens and massage that compound butter into the meat inside this pocket. Get as far as you can, being careful not to tear the skin, and this compound butter will self-baste the meat as the hens roast. Finally, season the outside of the meat with the salt rub blend. This includes a tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of lemon pepper, and 1 tablespoon of poultry seasoning. So season them up really well, and then we're going to roast them in a preheated oven for about an hour, or until an instant read thermometer inserted into the thickest part of a thigh registers 165 degrees and the juices all run clear. The veggies and the herbs stuffed in the cavity of the hen imparts flavor to the meat as they're cooked. Again, be sure not to crowd the hens on the baking sheets, or else the skin won't get crispy and they'll take longer to cook, so give them plenty of space. Then afterwards, I like to drizzle a little melted butter on them for the last 5 minutes or so. This will make the skin golden brown and delicious. Now, if you'd like, you could also take a layer of apricot jelly and brush that over it, and then you have a thin sheen of sweetness to balance out all those salts and herbs. Then remove the hens from the oven, loosely tint them with foil, and let them rest at least 10 minutes before carving them or serving. That'll give you time to grab a glass of wine and socialize with your guest. Now, go and share some of these beautiful roasted Cornish hens with someone you love. Thanks for listening. Come back again.